Give it up, give it up, give it up. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Right, it's been a long day, hasn't it? Let's see if we can do better than that. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Wonderful, so good to be here. I'm so excited to share loads of really cool stuff with you. Be honest, how many people have heard of me before? How many have never heard of me before? And how many people don't care if you never see me again for the rest of your life? Hello and welcome to Speak on Stage. Yes, I know I'm late, and my name's Dave Crane. That's not why I'm late. I'm late for a very good reason today, and it's a challenge that reaches every single parent on this planet right now. I don't know how to say this, so I'll just come out and say it to you. Today we had to decide as a family whether Maya's going to go back to school or not. Maya's my gorgeous 9-year-old. You've seen her on the show with me a couple of days ago. And the school that she goes to is an excellent school. The teachers and the headmaster are very conscientious and they really care. But you have to have a think about, even if you have social distancing, even if you take your sandwich and you're only had a sandwich in a bag that you dispose of, even if you sit away from your friends and the parents have temperature checks that are made, you've got to go to school and back from school with one parent in the car, not two parents. You're not allowed to car share. There's a number of things that they've put in place to make sure that the kids are as safe as they possibly can be. Small classes, extra teachers brought in at extra expense, which we have to cover, but that's part of the deal. Or online learning. What do you do? Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you today is because today's episode is really about a very special thought, and it's this. You'll see the starting card. How speakers think. As a speaker, you have to come to a number of different decisions all the way through your career, which you do as a business person, leader, all that sort of stuff anyway. But the difference between being a speaker and any other decision maker is you have to then suck it all up, go on stage, and the show must go on regardless of how you've been feeling, whether you've been crying, whether you've been upset, whether you've been happy, sad. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You can share it with people, tell them where you're at, but then they shrug it off and they go, okay, well, we paid for you to be here, do stuff. Otherwise, give me my money back. But you can't give me compensation because we put all this stuff together and you're not doing your job properly. So please, come on, explain. So the challenge is, for me, and this is what today's show is about, the mindset you got to go through as a speaker and how to deal with fear, how to deal with challenges. I mean, I'd like to know, just as a little bit of a question, would you send your daughter to school or your son to school? If you're a teacher, I understand it's incredible pressure. And I think it also matters on what your country has done. I'm blessed to be living in the United Arab Emirates, where certainly in Dubai and also the other Emirates, they blocked us down from the very beginning. As soon as we knew about it, within just a couple of days, we were all in lockdown for 3 weeks solid. We had a day or so to come out and do stuff again. Then we went back down for 2 weeks until they felt that they had not only enough places to put people, just in case it went bad. So the whole World Trade Center was turned into a hospital to take thousands of beds just in case. I've never had it full, to my knowledge. But also, they had very strict things in place. So you couldn't leave the house without a actual note. So from your phone, you downloaded an app and you had to say when you were leaving to go to, and literally, if you were going, you'd say, right, I'm now going to the shops. So you go to the shops and you go to the hospital. That's it. I don't go into the shops, and the shop I'm going, I live here, and the shop I'm going to is over here, and you've got to plan it on your map. I'm going to be 20 minutes, or I'll be an hour. The maximum you could be away from home, I think, was 3 hours, and then it just wouldn't allow you to do any more than that. And so you had to have a pass, and it would tell you, yes, you can go. So you go there, you get your shopping done, you go back home, and you're in lockdown. So everything was managed perfectly. They've been brilliant at it. In fact, these are the guys that very little small United Arab Emirates is not only one of the most pioneering places to be in when it comes to things like tourism and reinvention and branding, but also these are the guys that are sending a team up into space, to Mars, to the moon, to wherever you name it. They're going to dominate. Yes, little United Arab Emirates. That's what they're going to do. They're also at third stage of a vaccine, which have got 15,000 people of all nationalities and all colours and blood types testing it in Abu Dhabi as we speak. Volunteers. So this country has a better plan than almost any place I can think of. And I don't want to name names or whatever, but you're aware of stuff that's going on. But the challenge is, I'd love to know, if you're a parent, or if you're a hypothetical parent, I'd love to know where you're from and would you send your kids to school? The challenge that we've got here, and it's a real challenge, is for a 9-year-old, if we take her out of school for a year, that will do a lot of damage to her. She has to be amongst kids. Zooming isn't the same thing. Would that mean that you'd send her in, or would you have her for a period of time going in just to see if we got it right or not get it right? Because the odds are, as a first wave, a second wave will make everyone go back indoors again. We don't know. And also, I'm 52. At 52, can I shake it off? Maybe. I'm not particularly fit. But is it worth taking that risk for your kid? It's not a risk for her, but it is for me. And am I being selfish by thinking like that? Now, that's my particular dilemma today. That's why I'm broadcasting and going live about an hour late, because I just deemed it was too important. We had a 10 o'clock deadline by which we had to make a decision. If we didn't say we wanted to go online, then she wouldn't be included on the online group. She has to go physically to school. End of story. That's it. You can't change it. And they'll recall and make a decision in 7 weeks, whether it worked or not. And this is a decision that's being made, and I really feel that the challenges as a parent that I'm going through are nothing in comparison to the headmaster and the school teachers who know that their livelihood and their job and their love of children and nurturing people is really called into question, because in order to do that, the job that they signed up for, the love that they have for young people, they have to be prepared to physically go in and look after my children, my kid. So I'd love to know your thoughts on it. Just put it in. I love your highs. I love you to say, how's it all going? And that makes my day, and it makes it worthwhile for me to be here. And I always appreciate your thoughts and challenges. And yesterday I asked you to share with me how old you are, which is great. Thank you. Some people did. Some people went, I am 100 years old. But today I want you to tell me, if it was your kid, and even if you don't have a kid, have a think about it, would you say yes to being in the first wave of kids attending school in real time? If it had social distancing in place, would you do it? Because there's a little bit in the back of your head that says, I'd like to see what happens first, and then I'd do it. I'd let them hold school. Okay, moving on. Anyway, welcome to the show. The show, he says, after broadcasting for about 8 minutes, but I want you to get your head in my headspace. This is all about fear. This is all about mindset. This is all about performance. This is all about, regardless of what's going on, you must step on stage and you must be able to have the tears of a clown. You wipe your eyes and you get stuck in and you do the job you've got to do. Today's show is going to be kind of exciting. Got lots of stuff lined up for you, including, in a moment, a video from my dear friend Les Brown. Cheers, by the way. Marvel. Is Dave obsessed with superheroes? Yes, he is. Does he feel bad? No. Has he got a Black Panther cup yet? No. Will he have one by Christmas? Yeah. So, you know what? When people say to me, where are you from? I like to say Wakanda. That's an in-joke for anybody who knows Black Panther. And if you don't know, Google it and you'll go, yeah, not a joke, Dave. Okay, so today is all about how you change your mindset. Now, like everything, if you want to become a much better speaker, contact me here on Speak on Stage, and I've got an incredible package for you, which is really cool, which you go to speakonstage.com. For a short amount of time, we've dropped everything down so you can learn to be a great speaker online with all the learning tools, that I put together for less than $1,000. How cool is that? And that we'll be talking about the industry icon program and stuff later on. Meanwhile, this is about fear. This is about the ability to get your head in the game regardless of what's going on. And right now, you have to do that if you want to make some money. See that? Like, I love that. That's my noise thing. It means dollar bills. When I go like that, you can quite clearly see I'm a guy who's never, ever thrown dollar bills out like that ever. In fact, I barely look like a person who sanitized his hands. So if you just joined us, welcome to the show. I did promise that was going to be interesting, and it will be. In a moment, we're going to see a brilliant motivational video narrated by my dear friend Les Brown, who was in Dubai before the lockdown. I got the opportunity to hang with him. I brought the family along as well to chill and meet him and chat about all sorts of things. And I won't tell you what we said, but he's fascinating, and I love him to bits. And he's one of the best motivational speakers that's ever lived. You don't have to be like Les, but I think you'll appreciate this. Speak on stage.
What are the things that you fear that's been keeping you from living your dream? That's been keeping you from doing some things that you would like to do? Just think about those things. And how do we begin to handle that? Abraham Maslow said that the life is about growth. And he said, you can either go back to your comfort zone, and there you won't find any growth, or you must be willing to go forward and face your fears again and again and again, because you're never going to have a fear-free existence. I mean, some fear is acceptable and legitimate. There are some things that you really should be afraid of. Now, you shouldn't allow it to immobilize you. You acknowledge it, you take it into account, and you carry yourself accordingly. There are times that we should proceed with caution, but it's the difference between being stopped by fear. It's the difference between having a fear and the fear having you. So when you begin to say, what is it that I want to leave? What contribution that I want to begin to make? What difference do I want to make in life? What is it that I want to do with the rest of the life that I have left? What chances I need to take? What risks do I need to begin to embrace? What fears do I need to step on? What areas of my life am I dead right now? What dream? You can either live your dreams or live your fears. You have got to get to a point where you say, I'm sick and tired of living like this. There's got to be more. To break through those fears. One, acknowledging the fear, knowing it's all right. Some fear is healthy. Beginning to know that your dreams, your passions, your drive to achieve whatever it is you want, as it has more power and meaning, it will move you past your fears. As you begin to feel that you deserve it, your passion and goal is so strong, the fears won't matter. As you begin to trust yourself and put yourself in the situation where you have to make it happen, you will make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't believe this. I know this from my own life experience. I know that you've got greatness within you. I know that you have unlimited potential in you. I know that you have something to give to the universe that was not here before you showed up. Somebody said that life is God's gift to us, and how we live our lives is our gift to God. What kind of gift are you giving? And what kind of gift could you give if fear wasn't an issue? And I'm saying you can have fears, but don't surrender. Don't let your fears have you. You're more than capable of making this your decade.
So welcome back to Speak on Stage, and hope you enjoyed that. Les Brown, an incredible motivational speaker and a really good bloke. And I hung with him, my family hung with him last time I was in Dubai, and we're still in contact with crazy friends. Right, so thank you for all your courts. Thank you for your courts, for arresting me and putting me in court. No, thank you for all your thoughts and comments, always appreciated. and keep them coming. I love to know what you're thinking as well. I'll tell you by the end of the show what I decided to do when it came to whether Mai goes to school or not. Just basically say which country, go yes, no. That's it. Just say yes, no as to whether you're in a position where you'd say yes or no as well. And any questions you've got, as always, ask. So today's about mindset, and I wanted to share with you one particular, and it's a bit of a fudgy, sticky, all together kind of thing. But it was kind of a really interesting checklist I wanted to share with you. 3:31, not 3. See, I'm a little bit flustered now. This is what happens. You've got to get into your stride when you're a speaker and shrug it all off and just be ultra professional so people go, wow, you know what? Your leg fell off? Really? That's why you were hopping during the entire show? I didn't know, but you're very professional. So what I say is the best way to be a speaker is to be like a swan. On the surface, you're gliding effortlessly. Maybe not moving your hands like that, that's kind of weird. But underneath, you're paddling like crazy to stay afloat. 31 things you should say no to have a happier life. So with this list, I'm going to just list them. It's easy. Let's look at your personality. You've got to get rid of these things to have a happier life. Procrastinating. That means delaying what you do. Negative self-talk. Perfection. Excuses. And comparing yourself to others. Very key. I can talk about these forever, but I'll go through the list in its entirety today because I want you to be able to get your head around this. Let's go through that again very quickly. Personality. You've got to get rid of procrastination. That means delaying doing things. You've got to get rid of a negative self-talk, the voice inside your head that can be your best friend, but in most cases it's not because it's your well-meaning parents or adult when you were a child telling you things that don't serve you now that you're a grown-up. Perfection. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to get 80%. It's like, I've always believed that if you can get an A at school and an A in life, then you're going to be fine. An A at school was about 75% to 85% was an A. You could get an A plus if you're really brain boxy, but if you can get 80% out of everything you do in life, you'll be successful. You don't have to get 100% because that's an extra bit of stress. Why? While doing that, you don't do other stuff. Be a perfectionist, move forward, but not super. When people turn around to see and CEOs say 110%, give us 110%. Well, you can't do that. It doesn't exist as a figure. Okay? So doing the best that you can. Okay. Excuses. Get rid of excuses. Just go, yeah, okay, I messed up. I was late today. Why? Because I had to make a decision. Do I hit it on time because I want to be there on time all the time for my people? Or is it more important to work it out with my daughter to go to school for the right reasons? Or not go to school for the right reasons, or stay at home for the right reasons. I'd love to know your thoughts. Keep them coming. All your comments, yes, no. Tell me the country you're calling from as well, because I'd like to know. Don't worry, it's not incriminating. It's just literally for me, you, and the gatepost. And the Aragorn picture up there, Strider from Lord of the Rings, if you don't know. Google it, and you'll see a man on a horse with a big sword, and it's him. Okay, I'm comparing yourself to others. Who cares how anybody else is doing? You don't have to be the same as anybody else. It's a one-person race. You to the finish line. And as long as you get there in one piece or pieces, then you've done all right. Nobody cares. Everyone cares about themselves. It's just not a horrible thing to say. It's just the way it is. I'm not going to go through the entire list because I can see I'm getting excited about everything. So I'm going to do health. Health, say no to the snooze button. When it's time to get up, you get up. I get up immediately. As soon as I wake up, I get up. That's it. I don't hang around in bed because it's too tempting. Just go, oh, I'm going to go back to sleep. And then you lose an hour. You feel good for the time that you're in bed. You maybe feel a little bit cheeky when you get up later on, but you miss out on a whole part of the day. And the reason that I'm doing a show like this, the reason I've been successful in my career in what I do, and I'm not saying I'm the best in the world at doing it, is because I put in the extra hours. It's really, honestly, I just outwork people. I get up at 5 o'clock regardless, and I get stuck into doing some work. And when I'm tired, I go to sleep, and that's it. And working from home, it's actually turned into 5:30. Oh, wow, that extra half an hour. Yes, it does make a difference. But that's the reason I've managed to be successful in what I do. I just work harder than most people. But is it work? No, it's not. I love what I do. All right, the next thing is partying every night. Well, you're probably finding that's a bit of a challenge right now because you can't go out. There's no parties. But you might be doing it online, in which case, good luck to you. Number 8 is stimulants before bed. Do not drink coffee, then try and sleep. Do not do too many things, including being online before you go to sleep because you can really mess up your dreams. But you can control your dreams by thinking, or even if you watch a certain movie, you can program your mind. There's a whole thing there. You can program your dreams. I can tell you how to do it. It's really fascinating, but not today. Unless you contact me directly, in which case I will do. But I might not. By the way, if you just joined me to speak on stage, my name is Dave Crane. Good to have you. We're drinking coffee. What are you drinking today? You got your coffee? Ooh, especially good. And if you haven't got a coffee, you're probably going, oh, I want one now. Or tea, or you could be drinking water. You remember when water was free and you just get it from a tap and you look for floaters and you go, I'm okay, I'll drink this. And you only drank water because you're super healthy or you had no money. Now you need money to buy water. What's all that about? Just like pressing the button. Okay, and food with no quality nutrients, that's a big challenge as well. Just going har, 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 har. And I have got examples. If you've been watching this show since the beginning of the week, you'll see empty. No more M&Ms. So guilty, should stop hitting myself because it does hurt after a while. Okay, and then productivity, I should go on to, but I'm going to save this list. I'm going to come back to it. These are some of the things you should consider getting rid of from your life if you want to be happy. Just have a quick look at that list. Take a screenshot if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine as well. And we're going to be next looking at how you program your mind, the decisions that speakers make before they go on stage, when they're on stage, and when they come off stage. That and more is next. And if you enjoy what we're doing so far, then let me know. Love your comments. Let me know where you are from around the world. And click like. The more you like, the more people get to see this show. Whether you're watching us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, or Instagram, the more you click, the more people will like us. And that means that we get a bigger crowd and gang and tribe. We're still looking for the right name for that. Oh, and by the way, in case you didn't know, tonight I'll be going live with Ernesto with the Toilet Paper Diaries. He'll be in Houston. I'll be in Dubai, 9 o'clock Dubai time. Google it. I'm not sure where you are, what time that's going to be. It'd be 12 o'clock in America, 9 o'clock evening here. And where you are, it's probably 1 o'clock. Right then, welcome back to Speak on Stage. One of the things that is really interesting is if you've been watching the conferences, you may have seen the Democratic conference. I'm not going to talk about politics, it's one of the things I avoid like the plague, but you'll see how everybody's speaking online, everybody's speaking virtually, with a handful of people in the venue. And this is because we're in a different world now. As a speaker, you have to be capable of doing digital stagecraft, which is what I'm teaching you here. I've got a brand new course on it soon as well, which you'll be able to see. Your ability to broadcast is different from your ability to speak. Completely different. So for instance, when I'm talking to you right now, I'm kind of interpreting what you're thinking at the same time. Because I can do it with a live audience. I can see faces reflecting. I see when people aren't happy because they walk out. Because we've got a good relationship, you can put comments down and please, send your comments through. But the challenge is when you're broadcasting, you have to hope that your knowledge of people, your knowledge of material, and the knowledge of what you're going to be sharing with people is enough to get people to want to stay with you and work with you, because they can just go click more than ever before, or click with the mouse, because now people have just so many options in front of them, especially in lockdown. They just don't have to be there unless you keep them engaged. So with that in mind, here's the questions that as a speaker I have to deal with all the time, and I'd love to know if you're a speaker as well, what you're thinking, if you agree with this list, if there's anything that you would add to it as well, that you would say are things that you would do, and I'd love to know that. So I'll be commenting as usual all the way through. So number one, remember this, I don't care if it goes wrong. It doesn't mean you don't deliver your best speech, doesn't mean you don't give it your best shot, but you will survive if the worst happens. I've had everything. I've had the microphone not work, I've had the power go out, I've had the audience covered in rain. I mean, I remember my first trip to South Africa I did a tour of hypnosis shows. And I was on stage in Johannesburg in Caesar's Palace, which is a huge entertainment complex. And I was hired in to do a stage hypnosis show on their theatre. And so I've got about 500 people there. It's the beginning of that night of my tour. And I would say about a third, maybe a half of them are from the press. So people from media, invited guests, all there to see this stage hypnotist from the UK and Dubai do his stuff. So the show's going really well. We're about 45 minutes into it. I've got people on stage in full hypnosis doing lots of crazy stuff. The audience is laughing, and then the lights go off. pitch black. So I'm on stage and I'm looking at nothing. Can't see anything. I've got people on stage behind me who will do exactly what I ask them to do because I've programmed them to be responsive to me as the hypnotist. But I daren't tell them to do anything for two reasons. First of all, they can't see what we're doing. So we'll do it and they'll hurt themselves on the stage. They could fall off and damage themselves. And also the audience can't see either. So we're completely in the black. So I'm looking across at the stage, at the wings, and the wings is what you call where the stagehands and engineers and technicians and production people are. I'm looking across at them. I'm going like this. What do we do? What do we do? Because the microphone's not working. Nothing. And he said, keep going, keep going. I said, I can't keep going. So he's desperately trying to make a phone call to somebody. So he's calling and calling, and I'm there in front of the audience. I'm saying, guys, I know that you think it's part of the show. It's not part of the show. Everybody in hypnosis, just stay where you are and just have lovely thoughts and dreams and chill out and relax, and I'll come back to you in a moment. So I'm looking across like this, and it must have been about 5-10 minutes, maybe about 5 minutes really, because your heartbeat rate speeds up when you're stressed. So in the end, I had to make a decision, which is, I know I can't do a hypnosis show now. That's gone. If the red generator doesn't come back on or the power doesn't come back on, then there's no lights. But what I have got is a theatre. So I'm in a theatre, and a theatre, you don't always see people with microphones walking around. Most of the time, you'll have actors or people just shouting or presenting. So I thought, well, maybe they can hear me without the microphone. So I said, guys, can you hear me at the back of the room without the microphone? And they said, yes. I said, in that case, take a big deep breath and close your eyes. And I hypnotized everybody in the room. Everybody. I took them on a journey for about half an hour in their minds to see success in their lives, see their future being really good, their job being fantastic, their life, their personalities, their relationships, all being successful. And after I'd done it for about half an hour, I thought, right, you've all had your money's worth. And I brought them out of it. I said, when you come out of it, I'm going to count from 1 to 10. Hypnotists will understand this. And when I count the final number, you'll open your eyes, you'll switch on your phone, and you'll illuminate the room. And then you'll give yourselves a round of applause, and you'll walk out in an orderly fashion. So I counted the countdown, well, I counted up, 9 and 10, open your eyes. And suddenly there's all these lights in front of the whole place. Really nice, beautiful. And of course, as I counted them out of it, I'd also counted out the guys who were in hypnosis next to me, because they came out of it, opened their eyes at the same time, and a round of applause shook everybody and woke them all up. So then we start walking towards the exits, and as they opened the door, all the lights and music came in from the gaming area, the gambling area. Why? Because I didn't know that in South Africa, you do get a lot of power cuts. And if you're working at a place like Caesar's Palace, then what they have is generators, but only for the bits that make a lot of money. The gaming areas, there's no way that they will have that go down. But things like restaurants, that's a coffee. Things like restaurants, things like entertainment, they can wait, they can come back again. So I learned the hard way. So if you ever get a power cut, head towards a gambling area and you'll be fine. But you will survive. And I've had tons of challenges like that. I'll tell you loads more in future episodes. But you do have to deal with it, and that's life. And you do in your life as well. All right, number 2, am I getting paid for this? If the answer is yes, then go for it. They've paid, they've invested. If you're not getting paid for it, is your reputation going to suffer if you walk? If the answer is no, then don't put up with people's crap either. But if you have made a commitment that you're going to be there, remember, if you have walked away, people will know that you're the person that walked away. And that's not what you want either. Number 3, are they still here and are they happy? Are your audience there? Yes, they are. Do they look like they're happy? Yeah, well, keep going. It's working. Will this lead to another gig? Will this lead to another gig? Will this spin off? Will there be an opportunity to work with these people again? Or will somebody in the audience see me and hire me? Will I get referrals and all these other bits and pieces? If the answer is yes, then you're doing the right thing. You continue. Number 5, how can I lead this? Excuse me, I'm getting a bit of a tickly throat. Expensive. Water. Costs too much. I won't do that again because I just had some coffee. Okay. How can I lead this to a better gig? What can I do on stage that's going to inspire people to be able to work with me in the future? Is there an upsell? Is there something I can put together? Am I already on the way to connect because there are people that I met previously before I went on stage who also organize events who would be interested in hiring my services? All these things are going through as you're on stage. Then afterwards, when you finish and you come off stage, you ask yourself, what went wrong? Because there's always something that could have been better, because you always have to find something that could have been better. And then what went right? And what I do is I put it into a bag, shake the bag in my mind, and take out the stuff that's useful. Then I say, what have I learned, which is the stuff that I take out, and I implement it for the next time I do it. And then can I get referrals as I'm on stage and doing my stuff? Will there be people who turn around and say, yeah, David, love to work with you. Okay, I'll chat to you afterwards. This is fantastic. And let's see what we can do together. Because the best way to get any gigs and the best way to get a sale is a referral. Somebody turns around and says to you, you know what, I know somebody who's fantastic. Contact this person, they're brilliant. You don't have to sell. You just turn up and they go, right, I've checked you out and I think you're fantastic. I want to hire you. And as long as you don't show up as serial killer, not stabbing cornflakes, but, serial killer, you should be okay. So referrals are always important, but you've got to make sure that people, A, can refer you because referable, and B, you've got plenty of stuff that people can find online to be able to work with you after that. And then afterwards you say, what's my percentage score? Not my percentage score. What would I get out of 100? What would I say is worthwhile out of 100? I won't spend today telling you about how to boost your percentages and how to break them down into everything. That's something I've already got broken down into a module in Speak on Stage, the training course. But there are certain ways of grading how well your event went based on the amount of percentage score that you got out of 100. Every percentage is out of 100, I know that. So that's kind of useful. So those are the things that go through my head as a speaker. If you've got other things that you'd like to add, then please do. Type them in here, send them to me. We'll be referring and returning to this subject again in future sessions here at Speak on Stage. But that is what I'd like to share with you as a beginning mindset for being able to be a successful speaker. I hope it's useful for you to see it. If you just joined me, by the way, this is Speak on Stage, and next up we're going to talk about the Industry Icon Program. Are you excited? Do you know what it is? I bet you don't, but I guarantee that in a few moments' time, you will. The Industry Icon Program, welcome back again. I'm Dave Crane. That's why it says it below me here. Dave Crane, see that? Speak on Stage, live. Why does shaking my hands mean I'm live? Well, if I was dead, I wouldn't be doing it, but it doesn't. Anyway, so the Industry Icon Program is a way that I train people to be very effective in their industry. If you are looking at your industry and saying, you know what, Dave, I could be in this career plan forever. Either you're running your own business or you're thinking, I am good enough now to be recognized. I promise you now is the time, probably beyond all times, that you should be stepping up your game. I'll be talking about this with Ernesto Verdugo tonight with the Toilet Paper Diaries that will be going live out of Dubai at 9 o'clock and Houston at 9 o'clock this evening. But right now you may have noticed that some of the talk show hosts, the late night talk show hosts, have returned back to the studios, and they haven't got an audience, they're just sick of working from home. And they kind of got in there with a skeleton staff because they've got props and they've got a real desk and the opportunity to reclaim their stage and reprogram everybody about the brand that they've created over many years of being a stand-up comedian and being with the biggest and best guests. And they may well get guests in as social distancing guests. Why is that? Well, they went into lockdown for 4 months, but after 4 months they realized that things aren't going to change, but they have to make a decision, like my daughter going back to school, and you may have to go through the same thing about whether it's worth that risk or not. And so that's what we decided to go back. In your industry, you have a massive opportunity, bar none, that most people don't have. And that's that ability to now make a stand and brand yourself as one of the biggest and best in your industry. Why is it now you should be doing it? Because people in lockdown, the world is digitizing, and most people have no idea what to do. I mean, right now, on this show, we're going to have probably about 500 to 1,000 people watching. By the end of the day, it'll go to about 2,000 because there'll be going to be people from different platforms coming and joining us. Now, just take LinkedIn alone. On LinkedIn alone, there's about 500 million people, 500 million people on that platform. That means that we are a tiny, tiny, tiny little fraction of everybody else who's posting, sleeping, looking for jobs, doing all that other stuff. If you say that I'm the best in what I do, and you know how to be able to project that and share with people so they go, wow, and there's a number of ways of doing it to provide social proof and certainty, then you will be perceived not only as the best at what you do, but people will hire you. It's not good enough to be noticed by people. You also have to be perceived as the very best at doing what you do. And that's the key to doing this effectively. So that's what I'll be sharing with the Industry Icon program with the many people I coach. And if you need to know more about that, then go to Speak on Stage, click on where it says Industry Icon, or contact me directly. We'll have a 15-minute consultation about how I can help you to move forward even faster. Okay, so with that in mind, I hope that was useful for you. I hope it's been a good show. Go through a lot of different stuff today, and hopefully you weren't too scared by the thoughts about going back to school. I'm going to give you my thoughts on that in a moment. So I need a yes or a no or a maybe, if you want to, as to where you are from and whether you'd send your kid back to school. And it's not a reflection on anything apart from the mindset you need to have and the coronavirus. I'm just being curious because sometimes I do that. So back again, and here we are. I hope you enjoyed today's show. It's been all about positioning yourself differently to get in the mindset of what makes somebody successful and what gets people to be an effective speaker on stage. I've gone for a number of different things which I hope have got you to clarify that even if you don't know that much about speaking, you start to realize the value of your decision-making process and what around you is positive and what's not. Today's show was actually meant to be more about not just as a speaker, but also as a human being. You have to deal with the pandemic and the mental strains and fears that you have to go through. I will be doing a show dedicated to that, or many shows dedicated to that, because in case you didn't know, I'm actually a hypnotherapist and life coach as well. So I've spent maybe 25 years at least in people's heads, helping them deal with childhood issues and trauma and stop smoking, lose weight, and get people positive thinking. Big audiences doing that stuff as a speaker as well. So if you're having challenges at home, then feel free to contact me, by the way. If you go to thedavecrane.com, thedavecrane.com, and I will challenge and help and move you forward wherever I can. So that's my promise to you. We'll do this properly in a show in the future. And I've got to say that I've really enjoyed this coffee Marvel mug. Not so many times to press the money button, but at the same time, it does look good. Look at that. It's like a Superman, isn't it? It's like, no, bingo arms. So, I'm going to leave it. I'm Dave Crane. Let me tell you about grit. I'm not going to play that yet. I'm going to play that in a moment because I want to lead up to it. Here's a challenge, and this is a video that I will talk about, I guess, in a later show when we talk about grit as a subject. But here's your little teaser. This video was put together in the World Trade Center car park. That's the World Trade Center car park in Dubai. And I was doing a coaching class with speakers. I had a room full of speakers waiting for me. And I thought, well, what if I set my camera and I put it on a selfie stick? And I just talk non-stop until I get to the class. I mean, I look out the window. It could take me 10 minutes. It could take me 4 minutes. It could take me 3 minutes, depending on whether the elevator is full or empty. And I'm going to be carrying my sandwiches, and you'll hear them in a bag as well. And it was just an experiment. It's not something you could prepare. You couldn't tell people to stand there and wait. You couldn't tell people to move out the way. You don't know when you've got 33 floors whether the elevator will be ready for you when you press the button. Interesting, isn't it? Well, watch this video. And before I do that, what was the decision that I made for Maya about sending her to school on the first day of term? We decided yes. As a family, we have to pick up the slack. We have to protect each other. We have to take what the world's throwing at us. We have to take some risks. And we have to get all of us across the finishing line. Is it a risk that she doesn't go to school for her mental health and her relationship with her friends, which is very important? Yes, it is a risk. Is it a risk for me if she leaves the house? It's always going to be a risk for me. It's always going to be a challenge. But I get to spend a day with you every day, an hour or so, sharing with you lots of thoughts and ideas. That's not going to go away. I watched Chris Cuomo from CNN. The big beefy, really smart lawyer presenter going through COVID. And every day he was there, sweating, interviewing, telling about his thoughts, his feelings, his experiences, and he made it to the finishing line. Am I taking a risk? Yeah, but hold on, look. For me, I'm 52. I've had it pretty good. If my day, my life was to end tomorrow, I've done all I needed to do. There's still loads to come, but I'm happy to call it a day on that. But for my daughter, for the next generation, we've got to make sure that they are equipped as best as possible to do whatever they can. So a calculated risk and the consensus of my family made me late today, but I'll stick with it. Grit is all about your ability to get to a finishing line. It's about taking risks, about taking choices. It's about the fact that you don't get to a finishing line and be successful because you're smarter, because you're richer, because you're better looking, because you're better trained. It's because you've got stickability and you make decisions and you pivot and you change all the time. It's come to the end of the show. I now want to show you this video. I'm going to play out on this. This is my thoughts on grit. Thanks for watching Speak on Stage. I'll see you tonight on the Toilet Paper Diaries with Ernesto at 9 o'clock UAE time. Meanwhile, have an amazing day. I'm Dave Crane. Let me tell you about grit. Most people think it's easy, but they don't really understand it. It's a long story. It's about a long journey. And if you really want to make a difference in your life, then grit's the way that you'll do it. Let me explain. It means pain. It means perseverance on a worldwide scale. It's taking yourself to the next level, and most people don't do that. They don't realize the journey, it doesn't stop. You keep your eyes on the prize. You go wide and never ever let it stop. You go on a journey like this, looking around, wondering where it's going, where's it leading me? And when you stop, you have to take a breath. You have to realize, not everybody's on your side. Most people don't understand, but grit is the one thing that'll take you on your journey. Let me show you something. And I'm exhausted, because the way that it takes you is grit has always got to be trusted. It's a one thing, a unifier that guarantees you will go to a higher level in your life, because somehow you will know nobody else does. Nobody else gets it. Nobody else knows just how much it takes to make it. So is grit the same as perseverance? Is it the same as resilience? Is it the same as talking? Is it the same as goals? It's all the above. But here's the difference. If you decide you've got grit, then it doesn't matter where you're from. Grit beats all. It beats smarts. It beats intelligence. It beats strength of character. It just means you keep your eyes on the prize and you keep pushing, non-stop. And that's what we do. Keep pushing. And it means you spend a lot of time on your own, on a journey. Nobody gets it, nobody knows, nobody understands. And as you travel, there's people that travel with you. And they don't know why you're doing it. And you don't have to explain it either. But tests have shown, if you've got grit, the big change that it makes for you is you always become with it. You can move, and you never change. And people come and go, but they always say the same thing. Why do you do this? Why do you stick with it? Why do you just take the easy route? But you can't. Grit doesn't work that way. You lose friends, you lose family, you lose money, you change towns, go to a new venue, find new hurdles, get friends, get down. Everybody looks and they step off. They take a new journey with you. But the way to stick with it is grit will see you through. If you believe in yourself and you're strong enough, you don't, then you're never going to make it. But here's the thing, if you've got grit, you're always going to take it. And then at the end of your journey, and it doesn't matter who you are, just pushing yourself further and further will get you to somewhere special. And when you get there, you'll know that every single second was worth it. You'll know it. Because when you get to the top and you look at that view and you put down your stuff and you know it's about you, you can smile, you can love, And you can see it was worth it.